Are you like me and you're dealing with painful joints and tight muscles, making it feel like you're an 80-year-old?
I've fallen and I can't get up.
If so, then continue watching because today I'm going to be taking you through my full body bulletproofing workout that's helping me become more mobile and move pain-free. Hello, and if you're new here, my name's Satya, and on this channel I talk about everything that I learn and do that's helping me become the best version of myself in all areas of life. Also, I happen to be a certified personal trainer if you were wondering why the fuck should I even listen to you. During this workout, there's not going to be a lot of rest time because we really want to get our blood flowing because the blood is going to help heal our joints. So let's get into the workout. The first exercise is a sled push and pull. We're doing this for 10 minutes total. This is really going to get the blood flowing into our knees and our Achilles. While walking backwards, you really want to emphasize pushing through your big toe. And while walking forward, you really want to emphasize pushing through the balls of your feet and feeling a good stretch in your Achilles. And the next exercise is going to be a FHL calf raise supersetted with tib raises. We're doing one set in the 20 to 30 rep range. While doing these exercises, you want to make sure your knees are fully extended. While doing the calf raise, you want to make sure you're driving through your big toe. And while doing the tib raise, you really want to make sure you're flexing your feet up. And the next exercise is going to be a knee over toe calf raise, again supersetted with some tib raises. Again, we're doing one set in the 20 to 30 rep range. Personally, I'm really trying to get healthier lower legs because I've sprained my ankles God knows how many times. But doing these exercises have been helping out so much. And the next exercise, which isn't really an exercise, it's more of a stretch, but we're gonna do some elephant walks. We're gonna do one set for 30 seconds total. While doing this, you primarily wanna be doing one leg at once, but sometimes I'll do two at once. I try not to be super strict with my form during these days because it's more about just moving your body. And the next stretch is gonna be some reverse Nordics. We're gonna be doing one set for about 30 seconds. Now, there are two ways of doing a reverse Nordic. One, having your feet completely against the floor, and two, sitting on your toes. Sitting on our toes is going to help stretch out more of our foot muscles and our Achilles, while sitting on our feet is going to stretch out more of our shins. So just experiment with both and play around with it. And the next stretch is going to be a couch stretch. We're doing one set for 30 seconds each side. While doing this, you want to make sure your lower leg is completely flat against the wall, as well as keeping our glute flexed. This is going to make sure we're able to really get a deep stretch in our hip flexors. And for the beginning of the stretch, I'll just sit against the wall, but towards the end, I'll start to lean forward more to stretch my hip flexor in a different way. And the next stretch are gonna be some 90-90 push-ups. We're doing one set for 30 seconds. Now, like it says in the name, we want to have our legs in 90 degrees. This is gonna stretch more of our outer hips. And the next exercise is going to be an ATG Split Squat. For this, we're doing two sets in the 10 to 15 rep range. The cues you want to have in mind while doing this is keeping your back leg completely straight and having our front hamstring cover our calf. This is going to ensure we're really taking our knee through a full range of motion while stretching our hip flexor and groin. And it's okay to let your heel off of the ground, but you want to slowly have less and less of it come off. And the next exercise are going to be some Nordic curls. We're doing two sets in the 5 to 8 rep range. These are so demanding on the back of your knee and your hamstrings. You need to be super careful while doing this exercise. And if your gym doesn't have a Nordic curl machine, you can use a glute ham raise machine. But if it also doesn't have that, you can use a Smith machine and just load a bunch of weight on there and then have your heels drive into it. While doing this, you want to make sure you're keeping your hips extended so that your torso is completely in line with your knee. This is going to place more of the tension on the back of our knee as opposed to having it in our hips. And the next exercise is going to be a Peterson Step Up. We're doing two sets in the 10 to 15 rep range. The ATG Split Squat worked our knees in a more lengthened position, while this is going to work it in a more shortened position. You want to make sure you're having control through the entire movement, as well as driving through your big toe and extending your knee at the top. And the next exercise is going to be dumbbell seated good mornings, two sets in the 10 to 15 rep range. While doing this, you want to make sure your knees are spread out and you're keeping a neutral spine and squeezing your core. This is going to allow us to get a full stretch in our our adductors. And the next exercise is going to be some back extensions. We're doing 2 sets in the 10 to 15 rep range. And for this, I'm not super strict on it. I like to do a Y raise with it so that I can flex my entire spine. I'm making sure I'm fully rounding and extending my back. And of course, controlling yourself throughout the entire movement. And the next exercise is going to be some QL extensions. Again, we're doing 2 sets in the 10 to 15 rep range. This exercise has been helping me the most. You're able to get a really deep stretch into your low back, but specifically in our quadratus lumbaris muscles, which is a muscle that most people ignore. And the next exercise is going to be some Y raises. We're doing 2 sets in the 10 to 15 rep range. The Y raises are going to work more of our lower traps, which is another muscle most people ignore. And doing this exercise is one of the only ways we can actually hit it. Having strong low traps is super important to having good posture because it's what's going to pull our spine back and keep our chest out. While doing this exercise, we want to make sure we're keeping a neutral spine and pulling our arms up at a 45-degree angle, as well as having our thumbs point up to the ceiling. Doing it this way is going to make sure we're getting deep into our lower traps. And the next exercise is going to be some pullovers. We're doing 2 sets in the 10 to 15 rep range. And another exercise that's super important for having good posture and a healthy spine. This exercise is really going to open up our lats and our chest. And the next exercise is going to be some dips. We're doing 1 set in the 10 to 15 rep range. While doing this, we want to make sure our torso is slightly leaned forward and our shoulders are going all the way down to our wrist joint. This is going to make sure we're getting a deep stretch in our rotator cuffs and our chest. And the next one is going to be chin-ups followed by pull-ups. We're doing 1 set in the 10 to 15 rep range. Make sure you're getting a full stretch at the bottom so we can fully lengthen our spine, our lats, our teres major and minor, and all of our other back muscles. The next exercise is going to be this rotator cuff exercise. We're doing 2 sets in the 10 to 15 rep range. This exercise is going to help a lot with our posture because it's going to make sure our shoulders are rolled back instead of being rounded forward. You want to make sure you're keeping your arm at more of a 90-degree angle and having your thumb point more towards the ceiling. Doing it like this is going to allow us to get a super deep stretch in our rotator cuff. In the last 2 exercises, it's neck flexion and neck extension. We're doing 2 sets in the 10 to 15 rep range for each. Exercising our neck is super important so that we can have good posture, especially in today's world because we're constantly looking down at our phones. So that's all to the workout, and if you want to try it yourself, I'll leave it down in the description below. And if you want to see more of me, just click right over here, and remember to always stay curious and aware. Peace.